everyone, it's Sarah Fleming from Prepare to Die Papercrafts, and today we're going to make this card here. I'm going to untie this so I can show you what we're doing. This is a die cut gatefold, or not gatefold, Z-fold card, and has a little, you close it kind of with the banner, and then we'll also tie some twine around it to close it. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to get started with the Stampin' Trimmer. This is a regular card base. It's 4 1/4. Well, but we're going to turn it on the side. It's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then I'm just going to add a second score line at 2 3/4. So I'm going to put this score line over here at 2 3/4 and score. And then we're going to fold it back this way. I'll put that down. And so this is your Z-fold. And so we'll turn it on its side like this. And I'm going to bring the big shot over. Okay, so I have my big shot over here. And I have my card laid out where the two short pieces are on the left and the long pieces on the right. And I'm going to tape my tree down with the center of the tree, like the tip of the tree, right on that score line. And I'm putting the washi tape there for 2 reasons. 1, to hold it in place, and 2, so I can remember which side I'm supposed to cut, because I've done it wrong 1,000 times. And so, so I don't want to get it wrong again. So we're just going to cover up this half of the tree when we cut. So we're going to stick that through, but you got to make sure that when you stick it through, you're sticking it, that everything gets caught at the same time by the rollers. Okay, that came off a little, so let's try again. Because if it moves, then you don't have it right on that line. Okay, let me get it pushed through. And then when you take off the die and the tape, you'll have this fun card that folds like this. Now I'll move this and it's time to decorate. Okay, so we're going to stamp our tree for the center of the card, and I'm using this Winter Woods stamp set, and that coordinates with the dies, which are the In the Woods dies, and you can get the stamps and dies together in a bundle for 10% off. And so we're going to first stamp the tree in Old Olive, one of my favorite greens. My favorite of the darker greens, I should say. And then we're going to cut that out. And ta-da, there it is. And then we're going to stamp on our card base. We're just going to stamp on this side. So let's fold the tree in so that we don't get it, well, here, we'll straighten it out like this. So we're going to stamp in balmy blue, and this is balmy blue cardstock, so we're just doing a little tone-on-tone stamping. I just want to get some of these fun snowflakes. And this is from the beautiful Blizzard stamp set. I'll show you that as soon as I'm done stamping. And I just thought it'd be fun to put some snowflakes on this side. I wanted to leave that blank, but I don't do white space very well. So there's that, and here's the beautiful Blizzard stamp set. It also comes either by itself or in a bundle, and then we can put the tree on now, and that goes on with dimensionals. Okay, so there's, you could also just glue this down flat, but I like to dimension on my cards, as you know. Okay, and then on the inside of the card, we're going to put this piece of paper, but first, and this is 4 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and you don't actually need the full 4 inches across. You could make it shorter. Okay, so next I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is 3 1/2 inches by 1 1/4, and I've scored it 1/2 inch from the right edge, because we're going to stamp on that, and then we're going to wrap it behind a piece of Designer Series paper. So I have the Thinking of You This Season stamp, and I've got my stamp lined up. I'm just lining up my cardstock with the grid paper. I have my stamp lined up with the top of the block, and I'm lining the block up. Not the best job, but it'll work. And so then we're going to fold on that score line. And then I have a piece of Under the Mistletoe paper. This is 4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. You don't need the full 4 inches across, but it's the size I already had, so it's the size I used. And then just putting adhesive on this side, on the little scored part, the little part that, you know, to the right of the score line. And I'm just now noticing that I, number one, used kind of a crooked piece of paper, and number two, forgot to flag this. So I'm going to flag it now. And now we can put adhesive on the back, and then we're going to, caught my cardstock just right. And then we're going to glue that down to the inside of our card. And since I'm using a tape runner, I have to be super accurate before I put it down. And then I have another little piece that goes inside the card that just fell on the floor. And this is 2 3/4 inches. It's the same size as one of these parts of the card by 4 1/4. But I forgot that I needed to trim off about a 1/16 or so, because otherwise it's going to show because of this score line pushing it out. So I'm going to glue that on. Okay. Put that down and make sure you don't put it on top of that sentiment. Put it right up against the score line, and it's going to cover part of that paper, so like I said, you can always have that slower. And then shorter. We're going to put some dimensionals there, because that'll kind of help keep the card closed. So you just want to make sure you don't put dimensionals any farther over than this. And then we'll dimensional that just to the back so that you can still open the card with the tree. And then we're going to, we have these little, the petal pink rhinestone gems, which are really adorable. And I have a dark old olive Stampin' Blends marker. And I have this biggest one over here, and I'm going to color it. I always color them before I take them off, because you don't want to color them when they're on the card, because as you can see, it's really hard to color just on the gem. You're going to get the backing in there some. So that is why I always color them before I take them off. So a little spatula. And just stick it right there. And then we're just going to tie the Whisper White Baker's twine around. And you don't have to. You could just leave it like this. You don't have to tie the twine around. And see, here's what it looks like before you tie it up. And when you open it, that little white piece in there is what you'll write your sentiment on. And so then we just wrap this around the card twice and hope that we can tie a bow. We all live in hope that we can tie a bow at the time when we need to tie a bow, right? Oh, I must have used a different piece than the one I thought I was using. So we'll just do it once, and that'll be fine. Maybe not cooperate. We will try again. And if it doesn't work this time, we'll just leave it without the twine bow. But I like it a little bit better with the twine. I like it better when it's double wrapped like I had it at the beginning of the video, but this works too. And then you just trim your bow down, if you can get it looking the way you want it to. Just trim that off with the snips. And there you go. And there's our card. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. All the supplies I used in my card are listed in the description to the video. See you next time. Bye.